Well, hello there. You're watching OffBeat Business TV or listening to the OBBM network. My name is Susan Hamilton, and today I'm talking with Darren Hall. How are you doing, Darren?
Very well.
Good
nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
You are about to learn about a really interesting way to be at your optimal health and keep your team healthy. This is really neat and very unusual. You're about to learn all about IV hookup.
You're listening to the OffBeat Business Show, rebuilding American business influence locally, nationally, and abroad, bringing you experienced insight for a strong, influential brand and successful life in business. Here's your host, Susan Hamilton.
Darren, this is really interesting. When I learned about your business, my first thought was, I don't know what to think about this. The idea that an IV could be used very differently. I think we've got an idea in our head about what an IV is. We get hydration, but we always think of it in the medical sense. So tell us a little bit about what's going on with IV hookup. And we're just excited to learn about what this resource can do now.
Great. Well, Susan, thank you for having me on, first of all. It's good that you guys have a format for small business like us. But, to get into it and make it, fairly straightforward, IVs typically are used in the medical setting. So people will need to, they'll have some kind of medical emergency and they'll be taken to the hospital. Okay. Lots of times they'll be dehydrated. They'll be sick with something like the flu or some kind of other virus or ailment. And many times when you get transported on an ambulance or when you go to one of these urgent care clinics,
right?
Lots of times they really don't have any good solutions for you. What they do know is that you're most likely dehydrated. So what they'll do is they'll hook you up to an IV, which just has saline solution, being primarily sterile water with some kind of salt mixture. And it's a standard formula that they use for all of their treatments. And really all they're doing is rehydrating your body because you're dehydrated. Lots of people who are sick, they get dehydrated. And once they get a simple IV, it makes them feel significantly better. The problem is you'll be charged $300 or more just for the IV, and not to mention the costs associated with insurance and copays. So really what you're paying for is you're paying a lot of money for something that's very simple to administer. And our goal is to bring a better technology to people and to make a significantly better value for them in their business.
That's so strange to put this in the business conversation. But as we were talking earlier, I learned that there's all kinds of ways that you can apply hydration. And actually, that's a conversation I'm well acquainted with. I get that hydration is a big part of focus and clarity,
yes.
A big part of acuity, a big part of our complexion, our skin, all of those things. That as a chick, I get that. I understand it. But I didn't realize that you could apply this in a business setting to keep your team healthy.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
yes.
and you're not just using saline either.
No, we're not. So there are different IV bags. And what we've done is, we have medical directors and we work with pharmacists and we create optimum IV bags that have a multitude of vitamins that can really help you. B vitamins, C vitamins. We also do subcutaneous injections of these vitamins. And what this does is it allows your body to instantly absorb these essential vitamins. And literally, with the right combination, people can start feeling better within 5 minutes. Lots of times we gear our business more towards there's a few different specialties, but athletes tend to be a major one.
Right.
Lots of times athletes, after doing events like whether they're playing tennis or they're doing, let's say, a marathon or a triathlon, or maybe they're just golfing after a long day. Lots of times it's actually good to get the IV before you do an athletic event so your body is well hydrated.
That's so interesting.
Going into it. Sadly, people wait till after the event. Their body shuts down, right? Their kidneys aren't functioning as well as they should because they're dehydrated. And we have to come in after the fact and we provide this hydration. And it helps get their body back in check. But you can use the IVs either before or after these events, and they do a fantastic job of helping your body recover or get prepared. Secondarily, for folks who just need vitamin infusions, sometimes as you age, your digestive system doesn't work as well. So we spend a fortune on vitamins and all these different things. The problem is that these vitamins have to get processed through your intestinal system, right? So a lot of those things get eaten up in the process. And as they filter through your kidneys before they finally get to your bloodstream, most of this stuff, and it's different for every person, most of these vitamins get lost in the process. So when we do an IV and we put the saline solution and the vitamins directly into your venous system in your body, it's an instant uptake and nothing is lost in the process.
That's so interesting because hydration is really the key to so many things. Yes, the recovery, even from an illness recovery, let alone a workout recovery. So I really do understand that. And most people are dehydrated and don't know it. Most people are walking around anyway like that. And you wonder, one of the conversations that we have here at the OBBM network frequently is, how do you have an engaged staff? Well, hydration might be a real simple way you could have an engaged staff, right?
Yes.
Just those simple things. If you've got people working on the phone, they need to the hydration can be the difference in the way that audio quality is, the way, that comfort and that engagement on the phone. That's interesting that you're taking it that level and that you've gone so far as to put vitamins in there. And the natural concern with that is, oh, wow, how quickly are how many vitamins and what vitamins getting into the system? Are there concerns about that?
When we set our protocols for how much vitamins we use, we use a very safe protocol that, we don't want to push somebody to the edge. We want them to have a safe dose of vitamins that we know their body can handle. So that is one of our foremost concerns. I will say too, on a side note, that, when it comes to a small business perspective, what we do is we also work with small business. So as you know, small business will put on events where maybe they're having some kind of, let's say they're having like a little celebration, or they're doing some kind of team building event that's athletic. Some of our customers, they've had a long night of hanging out with their associates or their friends, and, or maybe it's a bachelorette party and they've had maybe a few too many and they're not feeling too good the next day. IV hydration can help with those scenarios in a very effective way. So my goal as a small business owner is to work with other small business. Consumers can call us too anytime they want, and we actually provide unique service where we'll go to their house or their business and bring our stuff to them. But we also have a clinic where they can bring their team or they can come individually.
So how long does it take? Is this a time thing we need to be looking at?
The time is pretty fast. So we do these subcutaneous injections with a very small needle, kind of like an insulin needle.
So are you saying subcutaneous injections, that's the same thing as the IV? Is it different? Help me understand. This isn't my wheelhouse.
Sure. So when you do a vitamin injection, basically what we're doing is we're taking pure vitamins and we're putting them subcutaneously into your body so they get absorbed instantly. So for example, one of our products that people tend to like are our Super B shots, where we do B complex with B12. And the first time I tried it, I was pretty amazed at the way I felt, because most people who even take care of themselves, they're very, what should I say? Their bodies are lacking these vitamins. And vitamin D is another good one.
Yeah.
A very essential vitamin that people are often lacking. The only way to really get vitamin D is to be out in the sun. So especially with this whole COVID pandemic going on right now, people are cooped up inside. They're not getting out very much. It's very easy to get these vitamins infused. And the shots are different. So if we put it in the IV solution, what they'll do is they'll deliver the vitamins, but they will also provide hydration. So lots of people need both. But if they're in a hurry or they want to add on another vitamin on top of their IV, it's very easy for us to add those vitamins, either subcutaneously or in the IV itself.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So this is really fascinating that anybody would look at their health this way is pretty proactive, doggone it. I mean, we get this hydration. Hydration's been a part of something I've understood for a very long time. I get the alkaline water discussion and both sides of that and how we need to be careful.
Yes.
Kangen water, I understand what that looks like. And I've heard those discussions for so many years that we are walking around dehydrated, and so many of the things from our eyes to to our digestion, to our
skin,
complexion, all these things are affected, and that how much focus and clarity makes a difference. And we sure drink a lot of water over here at OBBM Network Studios.
Good.
Continually,
That's the first step.
because you have to. There's no telling when you have to be on, and we have to be ready.
Yes.
So with that being said, we're going to take a short break, and we are going to hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. You're watching OffBeat Business TV.
At Work Suites, get back to work your way. Business addresses, co-working, executive office suites. We really thrive on helping small businesses expand their horizons from simply working out of their home. What's really nice is we're flexible with our terms. We don't require you to sign a lease with us, go month to month, or stay a couple years. You may only need a part-time space. You'll have a full kitchen, covered garage access. This is the ideal way to work through the transition in your business and get you up to speed quickly. Private offices have dedicated Wi-Fi, furniture, 24/7 access. Call 888-445-9675 and check us out at worksuites.com to schedule your tour. You're going to love it here. 888-445-9675.
And we're back. You're watching OffBeat Business TV. My name is Susan Hamilton, and I'm here with Darren Hall and IV Hookup. Oh my gosh, have you been listening to what he's sharing here? Because evidently now you can just stick an IV in your arm and feel totally fabulous in, how long?
About 45 minutes.
About 45 minutes. You can get rehydrated through this solution. And as we were mentioning in the first half, that's huge when you're looking for a more productive staff when there is any level of celebration going on the evening before with your company parties. That's good to know because this is coming out in November.
Yes.
People will want to know that. But additionally, how long does it take, right? I mean, what is the whole process? Walk us through what it looks like if we decide to use your services. What does that look like even?
Well, a lot of people get scared because when they know an IV is going to happen, there's a needle involved. And the technology that we use has actually come a very long way. So someone will schedule their appointment and we'll either go to their house if they're not feeling able to drive, or they'll come into our clinic. And what we'll do is we use a special needle where we typically go in around the elbow into a vein. And we'll prep the area and we'll expose the vein. And then all we do is we take a very, very small needle. And the needle will penetrate the vein for about a second and a half. And then after the needle goes in, we slide a plastic sheath over it and the needle comes out. A lot of people don't do that. They leave the needle in the entire time. And what that does, it doesn't allow you the freedom to be able to move your arm, because that needle can actually move and it can relocate. Right? So you gotta kind of keep your arm locked the entire time, and it makes the process kind of uncomfortable.
Okay.
So once that plastic sheath goes into the vein, there's no pain. You're sitting there, you can watch TV, you can listen to music, you can talk to your friends. It's painless. And then essentially, based on what size IV bag, 500 cc's or 1,000 cc's, it can take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to deliver the solution with the vitamins.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
Wow. So how long does it take from the time you order it to the time we can see you?
Well, it depends. Normally, we can be to your location in 2 hours, or if we are running our clinic and you come in, we can normally get you in within 5 to 10 minutes. So the scheduling options are very flexible, and we try to make it easy for people. On top of that, we were talking earlier about the pricing.
Yes.
So our top price point is $150 and that's for one of our bags that has a lot of vitamins in it. We also have basic options around $75 to $80. So if people are not feeling, good, there's always alternatives out there. And especially when you're sick with something like a flu or you're just feeling under the weather. The solution that the hospitals or these ambulances, what they're going to do is they're always going to hook you up to an IV, and they're going to charge you a lot of money for something like that. We do not accept insurance. So we believe, in price transparency, and what you see is what you get. So.
Well, that's really interesting because you've got another aspect to your business that I'm excited to share with people, because one of the reasons that this is such a smart conversation is there are certain businesses that really benefit from having you on site on a regular basis.
Yes.
So that the team can take advantage of these services as they need to.
Yes.
For instance, attorneys' offices.
Yes.
Right? Or
very good
or
clients.
med spas. Right?
Spas.
To
Yes.
connect with you. We were even talking about how important it is in the technology space, because when people are very, very focused, technology is very dehydrating. So just even those are really important ways that people can work with you. They can actually hire you or a member of your team to come out for a couple hours frequently.
Yes.
During a week, a month, or is that just dependent on the terms?
Well, typically, I like to recommend that people get IVs, especially folks who are starting to get a little bit older and they can't absorb the vitamins as well. We have a lot of folks who come in who just want vitamin replenishment and hydration. So they'll come in once every 2 weeks or bi-monthly. And, we have programs for that to make it cost effective. So we do a lot of that. Just this last week, because of the whole pandemic 6 months ago, we started offering comprehensive COVID-19 testing.
Yes.
Which is another part of our business. And we kind of had to go that direction. When we opened at the beginning of the year, COVID kind of shut everything down,
right?
Especially small business, unfortunately. So we had to find another direction that we could go. So COVID testing has been a lot of what we've been doing, both the viral testing and the antibody testing for folks. And we've had a tremendous response from small businesses that want to be able to get their staff tested at their location, and they want it done quickly with fast results.
Excellent.
Yes. So that's another space that we work in as well.
You've seen a few things.
We've seen a few things.
You've seen a few things. And you're kind of exposed to information that I wish we were talking about more on mainstream news media.
Yes.
I get a little concerned that we have a focus that's kind of bent on freaking people out. And
Yes.
I'm a little concerned about that
Me
as a
too.
business owner, because I think fear is a control mechanism and it bothers me.
Yes.
And so what are you seeing now that you have been doing these COVID testings for so long?
It's such a great question, because when this first started, you're getting hit from all these angles by different sources of people trying to educate you. It's not really education as much as I think it's almost fear-mongering. This hurts small business probably as much as any other sector in the United States. And we felt it ourselves, which is why we started doing the testing, because people weren't ordering IVs for 4 months solid.
Sure. And we were concerned. We didn't know what this was, and nobody wants to inadvertently cause an illness, right?
Yes.
So in January, you noticed that things were slowing down for you.
Yes, they were slowing down just as we were starting to pick up.
Yeah.
And, they shut down all business, non-essential business. So what we just decided to do was start doing COVID testing for folks. And we wanted to do rapid testing because what we were finding in the marketplace was people would go to the county or various hospitals, and they'd get a test, a nasal swab test, and they'd be waiting a week and a half, 2 weeks to get the results, which I thought was just ridiculous.
There seemed to be a strain. The way the testing was flooding the community was interesting.
It was flooding the community, and they were overwhelmed. It was very disorganized. And we thought to ourselves, there's got to be a way that smaller business can bring innovation to this. So what we did is we investigated these different testing methods, if you will. And we tried to find tests that were of quality, FDA approved. And initially the market got flooded by a bunch of tests that were foreign tests. Since then, they've realized that these tests aren't actually that good. So we found partners who manufacture their products in America with proven FDA result tests.
Okay.
So we began utilizing these tests, and we partnered with a lab that when we do our nasal swabs, we get the results back in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
So that was the first step. Since then, we've also added rapid viral testing, because you have antibody testing and then you have viral testing, which are two totally different things. I tell patients that if they think they've come in contact with someone who has COVID, but they don't have symptoms, and it's been 4 to 5 days after, you can have an antibody test, and the antibody test will tell you whether you came in contact with the virus months ago or within the last few weeks.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. So most people who are non-symptomatic, the antibody test seems to be a good solution for them. We've seen problems with people being able to go back to work because somebody in the office has had contracted the virus.
Right.
With the new technology that we just brought on, we do what's called viral antigen testing. And that allows us to do a viral test. And instead of taking 2 days to get the results, we can get it in 15 minutes. And we can provide documentation so folks can get back to work.
Fabulous.
And for business too. So, lots of times you've probably read on the news where someone gets COVID-19 and they shut down their entire factory, right? They've done all this cleaning. They've got 250 employees. Someone tests positive and they shut the whole thing down. My goal is to help small business avoid those kinds of issues.
Yeah, well, that's huge. And we need that because if it can happen once, it can happen again. And that's what all of us are really aware of. So we need to know what we can do to protect our community, do the very best that we can, and really have some solutions much closer to home where we're not just trusting anything. That really bothered me that we spent so much time believing in international governance rather than some of our own experts right here on American soil. Especially when we started out. So that's fascinating that you found testing right here and you found products right here in America that you trust. So how do people find you? If somebody is, are you servicing specifically the DFW area right now?
Yes, we are. So we're located in Plano. We have a really good website, which is ivhookup.com.
Wonderful.
It's easy to text us. You can email us. You can call us on the phone. And what we do is we try and set up the appointments around the client's schedule. And when you come into our office, the nice thing about it, it doesn't feel like a medical clinic, right? We want people to come in and feel relaxed. Our technicians, when they go out to your business or your location, we try to make it, we try to take all the, if you will, scariness out of the experience.
Oh, good, because there's a needle involved. It can be a little scary.
Yes.
Right? Because even from what I understand, even the subcutaneous is a needle.
It is a needle, yes. And, when we're doing our antibody testing for COVID, I'll be the first to tell you that a lot of people take what's called capillary blood when they're doing these antibody tests to see if they have the antibodies, right? And what they'll do is they'll take a needle and they'll go into your finger and they'll take blood from your finger. Well, what we found is that blood is very inaccurate for being able to get you a true result for an antibody.
Fabulous.
You have to take venous blood.
Okay.
And it's not a big process. It's much like putting in an IV. It's like, when you do your blood work at the doctor, we go in and we just take a couple cc's, which is a very small amount, and we are able to test it, and in 15 minutes, they'll know.
Fabulous. And you've made it so easy and they can relax and come in and get with you, Darren. That's fabulous. We are excited to know about IV Hookup. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to share you with the rest of our audience.
I appreciate it.
Until next time, you've been watching OffBeat Business TV or listening to the OBBM Network podcast.
You've been listening to the OffBeat Business Show. Find our lineup, podcast, magazine, event calendar, and sponsor information, even our membership directory, all available on the OffBeat Business app or at offbeatbusiness.com. Download the OffBeat Business app today.
Take this for a minute.